Intelligent Wi-Fi jamming uses malicious packets rather than random noise in order to disable Wi-Fi connections. We'll explore how MDK3 disables wireless connections on this episode of Cyber Weapons Lab. Management frames are packets that are used to regulate network connections and are commonly targeted by hackers because they can be used to disconnect or otherwise mess with a network connection. AirPlay-NG is a common tool that's fairly popular for de-authing networks, but it only uses one particular kind of packet in order to do so. This is the de-authentication packet, and it's typically used in order to let a station know that it's being disconnected from an access point because it's been determined to be a rogue station or otherwise is not, invited to that Wi-Fi network anymore. Once it receives this packet, it automatically disconnects and will need to reconnect in order to use the network again. Now, MDK3 is a special tool that's meant to kind of stress test wireless networks, and it actually includes a different kind of packet, the disassociation packet, which is used to basically indicate that a station is powering down or otherwise leaving the area. Now, this has a similar effect of disconnecting any client device that's connected, and you'll notice that these two packets can be used more or less interchangeably for de-authing a wireless network. Now, while AirPlay-NG only uses one type, we're going to be exploring today a tool that uses both. So in order to use this, you'll need a wireless network adapter that's capable of being put into monitor mode, like this Panda PAU09. You'll also need a fully updated version of Kali Linux, because some of these tools will need to be updated in order to work properly. With that being said, that's all you need, so let's begin. Hey Bytes. In 2019, YouTube started enforcing a ban on instructional hacking. And as a result, we started getting warnings and even a strike on some of our content. Now, in order to make sure we didn't get taken off YouTube entirely, we had to move some of the more problematic videos over to the Null Byte website. Now, I understand this is a little bit annoying, but you can still access the content by checking out the link below and in the description. Thanks for understanding. As you can see here, we've started to detect some disassociation and de-authentication frames being broadcast in our area. Now, this is pretty unusual because usually this only happens if, let's say, an access point is shutting down. So this is a pretty good indication that there's an attack going on in our area related to jamming or de-authentication. Now, this is pretty easy to detect using Kismet, so keep in mind that if you're running this sort of attack, it can be easily detected by free and open source software. So again, make sure that if you're going to do this, you have permission to run it on whatever network you're actually testing it on in the first place. Because these attacks are so simple, it's a really bad idea to put a device on a network like a security camera that's critical and won't work if it's disconnected from Wi-Fi. Instead, you should use alternatives like Ethernet in order to make sure that critical devices stay connected to a network no matter what an attacker does. Now, there are some improvements in WPA3, which was recently certified, which means that management frames will now be protected so that they're not capable of being forged and abused to kick people off the network randomly. In fact, some types of WPA2 already implement this with protected management frames. However, if you don't want to wait and you suspect you're being targeted with this sort of attack, you can always go ahead and use a tool like Kismet to determine whether or not that sort of attack is in progress. Now, Kismet can be used as an intrusion detection system to monitor whether or not these sorts of packets are being sprayed all over the network. And unless a station is powering down, you shouldn't expect to see things like disassociation packets just being sprayed out randomly. That's all we have for this episode of Cyber Weapons Lab. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.